to Gen X Toy Box. So again, we are so privileged to have a really great guest with us tonight. We got Brian Smitty Smith with us tonight, and I'm so excited to have him. Thank you for joining us, Smitty.
Oh, thank you for having me. It's a pleasure.
Yeah, so I'm so excited because his resume is impressive. Like, I thought I knew Smitty. I really did. And then I started looking at all the stuff he did. I'm just like, I was just blown away. So some of it, I'll just get into some. So former editor for Marvel and DC, which is super cool. Working on titles like Ultimate Spider-Man, Iron Man, Captain America, like that's just a few. So that's impressive. And your talents just don't stop at editing either. You write and you branched out into titles like Marvel Spider-Man, and that was like based off the cartoon, and Finding Nemo, Voltron Force, TMNT, and Spongebob, which is very close to my heart. I love me some Spongebob. And then your awesome stuff on like the Madballs comics, and that's just, you know, the other stuff. But you did your writing and illustrations in Tree Mail. And of course, your PB&J, which is fantastic. My little one loves it. Yeah. I love it.
Thank you.
So again, that's just like a little compact thing of what you do, and it's fantastic. You're very talented. So
I don't know if you can tell how bad I'm blushing right now, but I
am. Aww. I was just like, really? Like I kept on reading the list and I'm like, that's quite impressive, sir. You've been doing a lot with the time you've been given on this earth. So I'm impressed.
Yes.
Yeah.
Long time on this earth.
Yeah, please. Don't even start. Like, I don't even think you have any grays. I don't see any grays in there yet.
Not yet.
See,
maybe
life's not over until you have a gray. That's what I say. Like, and my husband has like 5,000 of them. I love cracking jokes. All right, so we here at Gen X Toy Box, we love geek and comic culture, and mainly because it just makes for great toys. Duh. But have you always been a fan of comics and geek culture? And what was the first title you remember reading?
Oh, sure. I mean, like I remember pretty much every toy I've ever owned, like from when I was a little kid, and you know, slowly but surely trying to rebuild that collection of things that I just like have a strong connection to. But probably the first stuff I ever read, like, you know, comic wise, was like the comic strips in the newspapers. Stuff like you know, Garfield and a little later Calvin and Hobbes. But like I read stuff that, like, anything that was in the newspaper, I'd read it. Even stuff that I didn't get at all, like Andy Capp or Brenda Starr, who was like a reporter. It was like a soap opera one. And also every time I went to the grocery store, I would get an Archie digest with my mom.
That's cool.
So I started reading, like I had a ton of those Archie digests. I love that stuff when I was a kid.
Awesome. Yeah.
And then
I had that stuff. That's cool.
I had the good fortune of my next door neighbor was like, maybe when I was like 8 or 9, he was like 14 or 15. So he brought me to my first comic book store. And at that time, I only got $1 allowance every week. Comics were 60 cents when I first started buying them.
Okay, that's not too bad.
Yeah. And then he would lend me 20 cents every week so I can get 2 comics at the comic book store when I went with him. Yeah.
Oh, see.
And that was pretty much what launched like my love of G.I. Joe and everything else.
Wow. Like I can't imagine like as a child being able to have access to that kind of stuff, because I guess it was around when I was younger. I just probably never paid attention to it. So, I mean, I do remember reading some stuff in the newspaper, but I could not. I'm pretty sure it was Marmaduke. I'm pretty sure.
Oh, yeah.
I'm pretty sure that's what I read, but that's really cool. And so as you were reading, did you ever feel an inspiration or a pull to dabble into the comic world yourself? And like, what made you look at these comics and finally say like, I can do this, or like, I want to do this?
I really never had any other career path. My dad was a New York City firefighter. And I remember like once or twice, like in junior high, I'm like, yeah, maybe I'll become a firefighter. And he was like, no, you're not doing that. You know, and fortunately, my mom and my dad really supported me and like, you know, got behind me as like when I started taking art more seriously. And I think I'd like to study this and do this as a profession. it wasn't like, no, that's a waste of time, or no, like, you know, don't bother that. They were, you know, they were pretty much on board with that from the start.
Really
So
awesome.
yeah, but like I always drew my own characters, my own stories. I mean, instead of Garfield, maybe I had like Barfield, you know, like literally just like copying things that I found and like, you know, just trying to make my own, take my own spin on it. But yeah, it's always been something I've been interested in. Thankfully, you know, I've been able to make a living doing it, and so far so good.
That's great. So like when you did pursue it, did you like have any formal training, or is it just like all self-taught?
No, I mean like the drawing part of it. Like I went to school for illustration. I studied illustration at FIT, got a bachelor's degree in it.
Oh.
And while I was in college, I found out, I went to school in Manhattan. I found out that Marvel Comics was literally right down the road from where I was going to school.
Wow.
And this was like this is still the time where like you could just find the building, go upstairs, and somebody would let you in.
Oh yeah.
Like, yeah, and like so I just went and found somebody. I'm like, I gotta work here. You know, I'm in college right now, and like they had an internship program. So I signed up for the internship program, but when I went back to my school, like one of the stipulations at Marvel was you have to get college credit for this. And my school did not offer college credit for internships at all. So I went to my department head and I just said, look, just write me a letter saying I'm getting credit. I don't care if I don't get it.
Yeah.
I need to get in that building and you know, be a part of this. And she's like, sure, I'll do that. So she wrote me the letter, and
Awesome.
I interned for like 2 years for free.
That's great. And it's really nice because it seems like you were on a path like your entire life, and there are just like little people here and there that just like helped you get to where you needed to be. And it's really cool to see those stars kind of align and like look back like all these little things made you who you are. It's kind of
No, it really was. It was perfect timing. I got in at Marvel, and then after I graduated college, I worked for a little bit as a mural painter and a woodworker. But I really wanted to join editorial, so that was, well, you know, I kept in touch with everybody, and I finally got hired as an assistant editor probably a year after I graduated.
wow. Yeah, and that takes a lot of persistence on your part because you knew what you wanted to do. You knew what it was going to take, but you still you stayed true to your path. Like that's hard work, but I mean, I guess it pays off because, you know.
I mean, yeah, it's I was pretty dogged. I've gotten lazier as I get older, but back then it was like, you know, I like the competition is so fierce for those jobs, and you know, I put in my time as an intern, and there was no way I was not going to end up working there at some point in my head anyway.
Oh, that's so awesome. And I'm so glad everything worked out. So, like, what is the first piece that you remember writing? Like, whether it be, you know, for Marvel or just for in general, like, what is
Sure.
some of the stuff that you really loved working on?
It's funny, I had very little faith in myself as a writer when I first started. And part of being an illustrator is being a storyteller. So you're telling a story with a picture.
Yeah.
But I never had any formal training in like, you know, actual script writing or anything like that. And, you know, I knew I could make my friends laugh, but like, you know, like, can I translate this into something that's going to be like, I can do this for a job, like as a writer. And the more things you can do in comics, the better off you are. Like if you could write and draw and ink and color and letter and everything,
Right.
you're just giving yourself more opportunities to get more work.
Yeah.
The first thing I wrote that I really liked was a comic that I did for, it was an independent comic. I mean, I printed it myself. I don't know if you guys have a copy of this, but it was called Wishful Stinking.
No, I don't have it.
This was like the first thing I did when I went out on my own, and it's a story about a kid who accidentally swallows a genie, and every time he farts, the genie comes out of his butt.
Genius.
And it's like a buddy cop movie because like they hate each other, but like they have to work together to like fix the problem. And I went out to San Diego that year, like that's probably right after I left Marvel. So maybe like 2012, 2013, somewhere in there. Oh no, even earlier than that. I don't know. It's all blurred together in my head. Timeline doesn't make sense. But I went out to San Diego with that comic, and I actually got it, and some people actually bought it from me, and I was amazed. And I ended up getting like consulting work and writing work and all kinds of stuff out of that one book. So
Oh, wow. Yeah, if
Yeah,
you have it, I need to see it because that just sounds like an amazing concept like that.
it's pretty rough. It's pretty rough, but it's funny enough that it gets the point across.
Yeah, and that's why I just admire the creative mind so much because, like, I like to write sometimes, I like to draw sometimes, but it's like that there's
Yeah.
a whole nother level of creativity that just like I just admire you because I cannot get there with the
If
creativity.
only you knew all the terrible, terrible ideas I've had. Out of like the 4 or 5 that are actually pretty good, there's like 100 that are just horrible.
I've heard that
So
about the
I always,
process. I've heard that.
yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
okay. Well,
But I keep a list
you keep a list of like all the stuff you've
of
done or all the
all the like a stupid idea will pop into my head. I'll write it
Mm,
down. Later, I'll look at it. And I'm like, why did I even think that was worth writing down? Like this is still terrible. Like it's not
oh,
getting any better.
that's hilarious. I would love to see that list. All right. So, how did you so I guess we talked a little bit about that, making a transition from being a fan to making it a career, but what kind of advice would you offer for anybody that is trying to break into your industry and like what kind of like hope can you give them that, there is light at the end of the tunnel? It may be hard, but
I mean, a lot of it is just like common sense stuff. Like if you want to make comics, make comics.
Mm,
Don't wait for somebody to give you permission, or don't wait for a paycheck. You're not going to break in writing Spider-Man or Batman.
yeah.
You it's like guys that are did their own thing and did it well, and then they made those opportunities happen for themselves.
Mm,
So there's no sense in like pitching Spider-Man or the X-Men because they already have enough people doing that right now. Like
true.
you need to like really identify yourself, like identify as a, a different voice, and then people start noticing what you're doing. At least that's the way I think. It's like anything else. If you want to be a guitarist, play the guitar every day. If you want to, be a scientist, read books.
Yeah, yeah.
There's no amount of like success that'll come your way without putting the work in.
That's true. And then, like, like you said, if you want to play guitar, do some other stuff other than Jimi Hendrix because it's been done,
Yeah, yeah,
So
yeah, yeah, yeah,
you think of
yeah,
something different. Oh, very, very smart. You got to find the
yeah,
angle kind of deal. Very wise.
yeah.
So, how was your experience working for places like Marvel and DC? I'm pretty sure there were good times. I'm pretty sure there were bad times, but overall, like, did you enjoy it?
Yes, I had an absolute blast. I mean, it's not an easy job by any stretch. It's like monthly comic publishing is you're just juggling like every book you work on. Say you have like 5 books or
Mm,
6 books, 7 books, whatever it is. You have a creative team on each one of those books that's like 5 or 6 people deep,
mm,
and everybody's got a problem or things are running late and things start backing up. So you're constantly on the phone. You're trying to put out this fire. You're trying to get this book out the door. You're reading this script. Or is just jam packed. And I
mm.
would say like after a while, like personally, I just felt like it was such a grind. I wasn't really enjoying it anymore. It's like, and I'd much rather be drawing or writing stuff myself instead of helping these other people, get their
Mm,
books out. So, but yeah, it was an absolute blast. I made so many great friends. I still keep in touch with a lot of them,
mm,
both at Marvel and DC. It was a really great experience.
awesome. That's great. And it's really great that you can see like the positives, the negatives, and then, I was saying before, like there is life after because everyone thinks like Marvel and DC, that's like that you've arrived. That's all you need to do in life. No, there is life and there's great
Yeah,
things even after you leave these other places. So
yeah.
obviously great things have come your way since then. So you've
No,
done
I
like
know, I know. I'm like I've had conversations.
no, go ahead. You've had
I'm
conversations.
sorry, I thought
No,
we
you're
had
okay.
conversations with plenty of people, like where they're like, how could you? Why would you leave that job ever? Like, why would you? That's a dream job. And I'm like, it was fun for a while, and I like lived that part, and now I have my own stories to tell, and
Exactly.
I'm quite content in doing that. Yeah,
Yeah, and you're doing it well. Like like you've done like some work on animated series, and by some I mean a lot. So what is it like for you to
Yeah.
see all these things on the shelves and see them out there in the world and people enjoying them? Like how does that make you feel?
And the fact that I've been lucky enough to have a hand in Voltron and Mad Balls and SpongeBob and like all these things that I loved. I love Voltron. I love the Mad Balls when I was a kid.
Mhm.
And somehow through like this crazy career path, like I've gotten a chance to write those stories and add to that, that universe in some small way. And it blows my mind. Like it's still, thinking about like the fact that I've had a chance to do those things. It's very fortunate, but like, it's just all, there's a lot of hard work behind it, I guess. Like, just like
Mhm.
pitching your stuff and making yourself known and trying to produce good work and
Yeah.
all that. But yeah, I love the fact that, I introduced like with the Mad Balls comic, maybe a whole new generation of kids to these characters that I loved when I was a kid.
Wow.
And, that's crazy.
Yeah, I that and that's really cool part of it. It's like you're bringing it back. You're bringing more life into it, and it's not.
Yeah.
It's like carrying what you love and sharing what you love, and that's really important. And
Yeah.
and it's really funny because that question kind of stems from there was a a post that you put up. There's a picture of yourself next to your PB&J book on a shelf in Target, and you just looked so happy. And like
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
love that picture. And it honestly looked like you felt rewarded, you felt satisfied. And so with your PB&J project, like what has it been like for you working on this book as both an illustrator and a writer? And was it similar to your experience like when you were writing Tree Mail? Like how was that compared?
This was a little different because like this was just me without like a writing partner or it was just like when I used to get so nervous about this stuff because you're putting your ideas out there and then all of a sudden the ultimate judge is going to be the public and what they think and whether or not they laugh or not.
Yeah.
And the fact that I've gotten so many like just notes from like moms and friends of mine and like librarians and whoever like kids are loving this book like
Mhm.
like it just it's I don't know. I'm still it's all so new, but I feel great about all of it. Like I hope it keeps going in this good direction. The first two books are out. I have two more coming out,
Mhm.
and then hopefully there'll be more after that.
Yeah, that would be really great. So yeah, I mean, you're kind of like doing your own thing, your own boss on this book. Like that's kind of
Yeah.
cool. It's like do you like set your own deadlines? Do you have like, okay, I want to get this done by this time? Or are you setting deadlines? Are you trying to make sure you get everything
No,
done?
I'm like the guy where I used to be the editor and like I'd assign the deadlines and then bark at people when they didn't make their deadlines.
Mhm.
I'm the guy that gets barked at now when I blow my deadlines, which I do on a regular basis. I actually not really. The first two books I did really well,
Mhm.
but then the third book because they came out the same day, so there
Mhm.
was a ton of work, and then I was a little like burned out after that. But book three is done. Book four is written kind of at this point,
Cool.
so I try to keep up with the deadlines they give me. And thankfully, I have a very forgiving editor and very forgiving creative team on the publishing side and they give me a lot of valuable notes and we've just been working great together.
That's good. And like, how has everything? I know things have been really weird with like COVID and everything, as far as a lot of the comic book conventions have been shut down or virtual.
Yeah.
Like, how has it been for you, like trying to, get word out and like, I know you do some commissions every once in a while. So it's like, how has that been playing into everything? Has it been really bad? Has it been tough or?
it's
Okay.
yeah, it's been a learning curve, I think, for everybody who used to
Mhm.
like enjoy or rely on going to the comic book shows to not just like interact with fans but like networking and like
Mhm.
making people aware of what you're doing currently, and so much of that is now like we're doing just remotely.
Mhm.
um so yeah, it's a little different, but honestly, like kids are still reading, parents are still buying books for the kids. They still have like libraries and all that stuff. So I
Mhm.
mean, I'm really just focusing all my energy on that and making sure that,
Mhm.
and the people at HarperCollins, Harper Alley, where they publish my books,
Mhm.
they are fantastic about spreading the word and about getting, like, you know, copies out for reviews and getting the books in the libraries and all that stuff, making sure that people are aware of it.
Awesome. And I cannot stress enough how much I miss libraries. Like
Yeah.
I was actually looking to go to a library, and they're not really open. They're doing like they pull your book and then you can make a reservation to go pick it up. And
Yes.
and
Yeah.
it's
I've seen that. Yeah.
oh, and I just miss going in there, like the smell of a library and getting to like touch all the books. I didn't realize that's something I would miss so much. And
Yeah.
how much like movie theaters and shopping and a big deal. But honestly, I miss the library. That's kind of where I was losing it. So, but I'm glad everything I'm happy that everything is still working
Yeah.
out and the word's still getting out. So it's really good.
No, I mean, unfortunately, like my work and life situation, I live 30 seconds away from, you know, my studio where I work, and it hasn't really impacted me too much. I mean, I miss going out and seeing my family and my friends and all that stuff, but you know, we've been able to do it like everybody else, cautiously and safely, so that's good.
Good. So, what projects are you working on in the near future or far future? I mean, I know you were saying that you're doing some writing on more PB&J and books are about to come out, but
Yeah.
I'm very happy. But I I'm thinking to myself like, please tell me you plan on making PB&J toys because that would be awesome. I'm just throwing that idea out there. I mean,
um,
come
I
on.
would I would absolutely love that. I know that like some of the book sets I've seen, like in the same kind of age group and category, like Narwhal and Jelly and Dogman, like they've done book sets with like little plush toys,
Oh.
and I would love to do like a full set of like PB&J, like little plushies. That'd be great.
Yes, please. Oh my
Yeah.
goodness. I would so like I'm in love with the bee. Like I don't know why.
Oh,
It's so sweet looking. And I don't know if you guys I know we've been talking about PB&J, but I don't know if you guys actually saw them. But look, it is
that's it.
awesome. I know. And like look at P. I mean, look at his face, man. Like I just love it. This is a really good read. It's a funny read. It's got a couple like little funny dad jokes in there, and it's
Yes.
definitely kid friendly, and it just makes for a good story. Like this part right here, I'm gonna tell you, my 3-year-old lost it. The raspberry making raspberries, he lost his mind.
Yeah.
It was hysterical. I could not rein him back in to read the book for like another like 20 minutes.
I've gotten awesome feedback from kids on that, and also bee poop, the honey
Oh
gag. The
yeah,
kids seem to like that. Yeah.
yeah. It's anything gross and weird, kids are just
Yeah.
there. I love them. And then I kind of wanted to show off something that you did for us, just to show off some more of your skills. You remember this bad boy right here?
Oh yeah, of course. Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah,
So yeah, my husband is huge on the Garbage Pail Kids, and
yeah.
this is displayed in our kitchen, by the way. So
Oh,
oh
fantastic!
yeah,
I'm honored.
yeah, it's hung up there, and yeah, it's so I'm glad to hear. Hopefully, I would definitely purchase the plushies if you did them. Um, and speaking of toys, I want to let everyone out there know that to get this interview with Smitty cost me an arm and a leg. Like I had to go find this cool thing that I'm going to be sending your way soon.
That is awesome.
Yeah, so this is yours. So when I see you, and this thing creeps me out because don't you know like the kids do these days? I
Yeah,
don't know what that means. I'm pretty sure
me neither.
I'm pretty sure it's some kind of creepy gang sign or whatever. But and then we also found you another food fighter little friend.
Oh, beautiful.
Yeah, and then we have a little Ronald McDonald like Happy Meal
Oh
mobile
man, you
thing.
guys know me very well.
Yeah, exactly. So, and that kind of leads into our next question. So, toys, we love
Yes.
them, we do them, it's what we do. So, what are you collecting? Like, what's on your shelves? What toys are you drawn to? And what are you hunting?
I've been collecting some new stuff and on some old stuff. I've pretty much finished my GI Joe collection, my original Real American Hero from like the 80s.
Cool.
I'm collecting a lot of the new Dragon Ball Z toys from SH Figure Arts from Bandai.
Okay.
I absolutely love those.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, a bunch of random stuff.
Yeah, random's kind of how we do it too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like we've been going to like a lot of flea markets and stuff and just finding like little tiny random toys everywhere. And
Yes.
that's how we find all these like McDonald's stuff because you collect like the commercial stuff like Allstate and like
Yeah.
food and like all that stuff. So we always keep an eye out because it's everywhere. Like it is.
Yeah, advertising stuff is big. I mean,
Yeah.
and there's a couple pieces that I have. I gave my friend Greg. I had one of the scrubber bubbles from what was that? There's like a bubble with a brush on the bottom.
Oh yeah, I know exactly what we're talking about. Yeah.
It's like a Clorox product. I forget what it is.
Bubbles.
Yeah. But I had a vinyl of that, and I gave that to Greg.
Oh my
But
God.
like anything kind of like monster cereal related, anything cereal related, I'm into. McDonald's toys, any kind of fast food promotions, like I don't know why that stuff just resonates with me. It reminds me of like what it was like when I was a kid, having that stuff around.
Yeah, and of course we're collecting the Masters of the Universe. I mean, I can't wait until everything is kind of back to normal and you guys can come here and see what my husband and I put a lot of work in here too. We've done to this He-Man room. It is insane.
Did you guys score a Battle Cat from Walmart yet?
Yes, thank goodness. Okay. Oh my goodness.
The last couple times I was there, they had one. Like they had a couple of them.
Yeah, no, fortunately, everything's starting to even out as far as like the first wave, but now the second wave has been a nightmare. Like the Scarecrow, Trap Jaw, Orko.
Right.
Man, that's been rough. But
I didn't mean to bring up a sore subject. I'm
sorry.
No,
I'm pretty sure every single video I have complained about how this has been done. It's just been because I had an interview with Scott Knightlick, and he was he used to work for Mattel, and he put things into perspective for me. He said, Walmart is doing Mattel a favor by putting out these toys because not a lot of people are willing to take a risk on putting out a remake of an 80s toy hoping for children nowadays to get into it. So I'm trying to think of I'm trying to rethink the way I look at Walmart whenever I get frustrated. So I'm like, they're out here in the first place. Thank you, Walmart. So I have to rethink everything. So yeah, that's really cool about, you have like all your GI Joes now. That's pretty neat.
Yeah, I know.
I think the only GI Joe we're pretty much after is like the original Baroness. I think that's like the only one that is not in the collection, but we're not really stressing about it.
I'll have to double check. I might have two.
Oh, there you go. Like
there you go.
Yeah, it was just one of those where he's like, oh, if I can get one of those, because Joe's has been kind of on the back burner as we're, building up the He-Man, but now we're finding weird things, and then I'm collecting stuff now, which is not helpful. Like my office is now filling up with Barbies, unfortunately. Like,
oh wow,
I know.
There you go.
I don't know, Barbies, and then whatever other weird stuff I can find. So that's what we do. It's the culture. It's what we do.
Exactly. Yeah. That's right.
Yeah, those are all the questions I had for you. I really appreciate getting to know more about you and like how you got to where you are. And it just seems like you've had a really, really fun journey, and you seem like you've learned a lot and you put a lot of hard work into it. And now you're at a point where you're just seeing a lot of your hard work come to fruition. So it's really rewarding to see as a
Well, thank you. That means a lot to me.
You're welcome. All right. Well, I hope you have a good rest of your night, and and followers and subscribers, make sure you check the description because we're going to put some of Smitty's stuff up there so you can check out his books, check out, his bio, some stuff that he's done, and get more information on him. But until next time, friends, I will see you later.
Bye.
Thanks, Smitty. I appreciate it. That was a fun interview.
Now we need a new milestone. So I was thinking at probably 125 subscribers, we can give you a tour of one room in the house. Now, mind you, every room has something toy related in it. So we can either do this room and you can see the full He-Man room. We can do my husband's office, which has a bunch of stuff in it. We can show you downstairs that has a bunch of Muscles, Imaginax, like 3-year-old just cool toys. Also we can show you our game room that has a bunch of video games and board games in it, or we can show you our kitchen. Like, again, I could pretty much show you any room in this house, and it can be your choosing. We can do like a fan request probably. So 125 subscribers, you get a tour of the toys in the house in one room. So keep liking and subscribing. Thank you guys so much, and I hope to see you soon in the next video. Bye.